Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to another Monday night live edition of the Suffolk non-league show. I am James and he is Adam.
Hello, everyone.
We finally have some good news to talk about. Get in. We finally have some news. Hallelujah. I hope everyone is doing amazingly well. I hope you're all in good spirits. I hope everyone's having a good time, and you've obviously seen the news today. There is finally some light at the end of the tunnel. In fact, I'm never going to quote Boris Johnson ever again in my life, but we are traveling on a one-way road to freedom, whatever the hell that means. Absolutely brilliant news. I'm so happy that finally something is happening. Adam, how are you? How are you feeling? Because I'm
good.
buzzing.
Yeah, not too bad at all. I've had my COVID jab today, so I'm on my own little one-way road to freedom, I guess.
How was that?
Interesting. I'm feeling the side effects, but I'm not putting anybody off it because get it done, I guess. They've got their own reasons, but as far as I'm concerned, get it done, get out there, enjoy yourself.
I'm not gonna lie, when you messaged me at 10 to 8 saying I'm not feeling so good, I was like, oh god, oh no, here we go. I'm gonna be doing this on my own, I'm gonna be buzzing, and there's gonna be no one to chat to. Like, what am I gonna do?
I'm here to give you some chat, mate. I should be all right.
Good man.
But yeah, good mean, Boris's little note today, one-way ticket to freedom. It's either the real deal or his suicide note, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah. I think if he'd have given any more bad news, I think there could have probably been full-on riots. And I'm not even joking about that. I think the country would have just gone, do you know what? F you. I'm out. I'm done. Like, I'm whatever.
It can't get much worse, though, is it? Like, have you seen those like memes that are flying around? New Zealand, everyone's enjoying themselves at concerts, and then the little British snip that just says you are allowed to sit on a bench at a park.
Yeah.
There isn't much more that he could take away, to be honest.
Do you know what? When I saw those clips this morning of like the cricket that's going on at the moment in New Zealand and the big crowds that are coming together, and I just thought, my son can't even go and see his grandparents. Like, it's just not right, is it? Do you know what I mean?
It's incredible, though. It gives me hope. It does give me hope, though, that you look at Australia and that they can get crowds in for the Australian Open and stuff like that. We should kind of look at that and be positive. Definitely. So before we get too far into tonight's show, I can already see loads of you are here. Actually, one of the biggest numbers for 3 minutes in that we've ever had on the show, which is just absolutely incredible. Much appreciation to all of you lot. Just a very quick word from our sponsors.
A massive thank you to all of our sponsors on the Suffolk non-league show, Starting and Lock, Matchday Marketing, GBS, Your Shirts, and Clabber Creative. GBS are a family-run construction company in Ipswich operating nationwide with over 30 years experience, offering fire protection, diamond drilling, commercial building, health and safety, and asbestos removal. Starling and Lock, self-employed electrician in the Stowmarket and Suffolk area since 1989, offering domestic work and certificates for people buying and selling houses. An NIC/EIC member. Matchday Marketing, sports marketing and branding company, helping enhance the image and profile of grassroots and non-league clubs at a very low cost, utilising over 20 plus years in the game. Your Shirts, eye-catching, professional-looking garments for your business, team, club or organisation with a range of printing methods to cover all individual needs. Clabber Creative is a creative agency based in Framlingham, Suffolk, offering fully managed football club websites. They are about giving your club a professional image and the ongoing support to maintain it. Links for all of these companies will be in the description below. Go and check them out and tell them that DeeJam has sent you.
And we also do have just a very quick word from our sponsors as well, just to say Matchday Marketing have got a competition going at the moment in preparation for next season, the 2021-22 campaign. Your team can be in with a chance of winning a designed top by the guys over at Matchday Marketing. And if you've seen any of their kits that they produce, are absolutely fantastic. In association with Macron Norwich as well. All you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is follow both Macron Norwich and Matchday Marketing and tag 3 clubs, friends, like and retweet
the post over on their page. I believe at the moment it is their pinned tweet on Matchday Marketing. So if you go over to his Twitter feed, if you want your club to be in with a chance of winning this competition, and it's an absolutely amazing offer that they're doing, a free football kit ready for next season. That's just absolutely incredible. If you want to get your campaign off to a winning start before a ball's even kicked in pre-season, you know what you need to do. As I say, go over to Matchday Marketing, follow both them and the Macron Norwich page, tag 3 clubs and friends, like and retweet their post.
Let's get that one for a Suffolk club, shall we?
Sorry.
Let's bring that prize home to Suffolk.
Yes.
Make sure
I agree with that.
Let's get in on it. Let's do it. It's an amazing prize.
I agree with that. Also, we wanted to say an absolutely massive thank you to all of our Patreon members. We've just recently had another person join in on the Patreon, but unfortunately I haven't had enough time to update the graphics for this evening. But we really do appreciate everybody who supports the channel. You can put as little as £1 a month towards the show. It really does help go a long way towards all of the costs towards the show, and just as a thank you for what we're doing. If you want to get involved, go over to patreon.com/DeeJam, and I said you can choose whichever tier you want and cancel whenever you want, which is the most important thing. I said anything from £1 a month, you can choose whichever one you want. It would really help a channel out, and you would make obviously the list on here and the end credits of every video that we have moving forward. And also just a thank you to our Ko-fi members who make one-off donations towards the channel. If you don't want to do monthly, you'd rather just do a one-off, you can, just like these absolute legends have done up on the screen here. And also just to say a massive thank you to the clubs that continue to retweet and support the show and have done every single week while there's been no football on. We have our club partnerships, and a lot of clubs have kind of fallen off in terms of what they're doing and retweets, etc. But the ones who continue to do it, we know who you are. We see you every single Monday posting out links for the show. It really, really does mean the absolute world to myself and Adam. So a massive thank you from everybody here at the Suffolk Non-League Show. Let's get all of your messages up on the screen, because I said there's absolutely loads of you in tonight, and we really, really appreciate it. Irv is straight aboard, all aboard the showboat. Irv is in the building. Hope you're doing well, mate. How are you? Sort it out. England played the 22nd of June, by the way. Well, there you go. There you go. That's everybody in the UK booking that day off work, isn't it? We're gonna go from no one in the pubs to the pubs being absolutely rammed. But
we'll come Suffolk to that League show coming live to you from a pub near you. Just imagine. Imagine.
We'll have to make that a reality somehow.
That's easy.
We will have to. Or you saw how many people made their own pubs in their garden throughout the first lockdown. If anybody wants to open up their own, if anybody wants to open their pub in the back garden up to us, I'm just saying, you know,
what a party! What a party!
Coming from a back garden near you very soon. Matchday Marketing, evening all. Hope you're all right. Matthew Tyrrell, absolute hero. Hello, James, and I hope you're all right, Matthew. Evening all. Hope you're well. Come on, League. Sort out. We've already had that message on there. Luke Gifkins, evening, lads. Slim is in the building. Evening, mate. Good evening. No better place to spend a Monday night, and I mean no better. Yes, I saw your support on Twitter, Dean. Absolutely love it. You freaking legend. Stuart is in the building as well. Addy Ellis is here. Evening, fellas. Hope you're all right. Jason Collin, evening, James and Adam. Hope you're all right, Jason. You're recovering well. Jordan Mays, evening, both. End of June it is then, says Maverick. Yes, apparently so. End of June. Evening, lads, from Ryan. Hope you're all right. All these people watching the show at 8:30 on a Monday means others are struggling for numbers elsewhere. Oh, I didn't even read that before I started. I didn't even read it.
You're dreadful at this. Literally, anyone could write anything in the chat, and guarantee James will read minimum 50% of it out before he realizes.
You could literally type Adam's a dick in the chat, and I'll just be like, yeah, all right, bring it up on the screen, whatever. There's no filter, absolutely no filter. Alex, evening, chaps. Evening all. I'm sure James would help with your side effects if he could, Adam. Oh, trust me, I would. I'd be the first one around there. Don't worry. I'm missing an Adam hug. I'm missing an Adam hug right now. I've had fun in the last 24 hours with an Ipswich fan who organised a protest outside Portman Road. Why do that when we are so close to lockdown end? And he said they had 50 turn up. Oh, neck. Wow. There we go. Always on a Monday, news appears to ruffle those. Yeah, you're not joking.
This is a big point today. Monday this week has been huge.
Really has. James Boonfield, even gents, good to see the best two falls in front of a green screen. As always, what I want to say. As Dean just said, we're all here rather than elsewhere for good reason. Really appreciate that, my man. Really appreciate that. Kimberly Baldwin is in the building. Hi, Kimberly. Hope you're all right. Evening all. Absolutely buzzing over the good news we've just been given.
That's what we want to hear.
That's probably why I'm in such a good mood, to be honest. Jason, more people turned up at Stone Market to protest about the burgers going up at 20p. Brilliant. Would love a viewer to win the competition. Fully custom designed along with the winner's prize worth around 850 quid. Jesus, wow. Ben, evening lads. Hope you both well. I'm looking forward to another good show. Connor Ellis is here. Nathan Clark, I'm so excited for this. Yeah, me too, mate. Mark is here. Good, James. Absolutely brilliant. Bill's in the building. Good evening, mate. Hope you're all right. Please don't break up like Kim and Kanye. And Dean, Adam's a dick.
There we go. Oh, dear.
Oh, dear, mate. I hope Barham have floodlights. Oh, God, yeah. We'll get into that in a moment. But, Adam, so excited for tonight's show. Absolutely amazing. We've got Matt, who's waiting in the green room as our guest for this evening. If you have any questions you want Matt to answer, get them in the comment section later on when he's on, and we will be asking as many questions as we can possibly get through. But before we jump into that, obviously there's a lot of news to talk about this week. The first one being that Boris has announced, as we are all talking about in the chat, and which is why everyone is so excited this evening, is that we finally have some good news. From the 8th of March, schools will start to open, which all of you parents out there will be so excited to know. After school activities and sports will be allowed. You can now start meeting up with people on a more regular basis. But from the 29th of March, outdoor sports facilities and organized sport will be allowed. So we finally have an update and a date of when we can start getting back to some sort of normality. So this news obviously broke and was being talked about last night. It then rumbled on a bit this morning. Boris then came out into the House of Commons making all of his announcements. He just had his press conference, which quite frankly I didn't listen to because it told us everything that we needed to know anyway. But very quickly, the FA then came out and made their statement about it, which just made things even more confusing. So we welcome the UK government's update today regarding the COVID-19 roadmap for easing lockdown restrictions, which means we can look forward to the safe return of grassroots football from the 29th of March for both adults and children. The 2020-21 grassroots season has been extended until the end of June in order to provide additional flexibility and time for leagues to complete their fixtures this season if they wish to do so. Please note the extension does not apply to the National League Steps 3 to 6, regional NSL feeder leagues, and the women's football pyramid from tier 3 and below. We will provide a further update in due course. So, what does it apply to then?
Step 7 and below, I guess.
Right, okay.
SIL can go wild now until they realise that none of the pitches are going to be playable anyway. Let's knock this season on the head, shall we, boys? Let's get started again in August and do it properly this time.
I mean, what do you make of that?
Well, two people can sit outdoors together. So if you fancy a hot tub party, James. There isn't much.
I'm not going to say live. I'm not going to say live my answer, but I think you might know.
If I'm honest, I think the main thing is that training's going to resume, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely certain there's going to be another announcement from all of the individual leagues this week. I'm going to probably be keeping a closer eye on what the individual leagues around the country are talking about. And not our main guest, but one of our guests next week is Ollie Bayliss, who we've managed to get. So he's going to come on and talk to us about that and how the leagues are going to be affected on a wider basis. So we'll have a look at that in a broader light next week, because I think there's going to be a lot of clubs out there asking questions at the minute.
Yeah. So step 7 is an NLS feeder league. SIL1 is the highest level that extension applies to, says Dan on there. Dean Cooper, I like the fact that they still have not grown a pair. And it's if clubs wish to complete the season on here as well. Matthew says training and preseason will start on the 29th. Live stream show in a hot tub, says Ben. There you go. That's next week sorted. Absolutely brilliant. Luke Riley, do people even care about leagues? I just want to play football with my mates and have a beer afterwards, which is a very, very good point.
Yes, Luke.
And Ryan, Ollie Bayliss, nice to know this channel is improved. Yes, mate, we're always making improvements here on the Suffolk Non-League show. But yeah, Ollie Bayliss is going to be coming on next week to kind of give us a bit of an update on everything that's going on. So I can't wait to have a bit of a chat with him. But prior to all of this going on, we had the update from the National League, which this week, if you haven't seen the news, the National League, the top league, the National League Premier, decided that they were going to be continuing their season. However, as the statement that has come out this week has said, is that North and South have been declared null and void. There's not going to be any promotions or any relegations from that tier of football. So step 2, non-league pyramid, is done. It's done and dusted. There's nothing coming. There's no results are going to count from that. So if you're in step 1, it doesn't matter if you finish bottom, you're not going down. So for the likes of Kingsley, and obviously they've came out and made their feelings pretty clear on the matter. They can't afford to continue to play. They're not going to get relegated. So what really are going to be the ramifications for them if they don't turn up? Realistically, we'll have to find out.
Not being issued fines for not playing.
And apparently they can be fined every single game, can't they?
Yeah, the FA, well, yeah, that is a sanction. The FA made it entirely clear. So financial effects are quite significant. It's interesting. Stephen
really
Cleve's been very, very clear about the fact as well that 2 more games and they're done.
Yeah. So the National League campaign is going to proceed despite 7 out of the 23 clubs voting to end it. Whilst the majority of the National League South clubs voted to continue, you see that in a 12-9 majority, fewer counterparts in the National League North felt the same. So 15 voted against it and only 7 in the National League North wanted to continue the season, which I found actually quite interesting, that the South were quite happy to continue, but the North were not. But either way, that now means that, look, let's be realistic. Step 3 and below, there's no chance in hell that we can complete the season. It's not going to happen. However, even if they wanted to resume any type of season this year, there's going to be no reward for them because you can't get promoted.
Yep.
So that, in effect, makes the decision for you that you're going to have to you're either going to have to null and void the season, or you drag the results over from this year into next year and try and resume something. But I think, to be honest, with the news that's kind of going on at the moment, I can really see them declaring it null and void. Everyone getting on this hype of the vaccines are here, normality's here. Let's get our season going in August and September, and let's just try and get a full season continue from there. I can't see them dragging, no matter what level of the game you're at. It might be a few individual leagues drag over some fixtures and maybe bring it into next season, but I really, across the board, I just can't see it happening. I think it's just going to be boom, done. We're done and dusted, wipe our hands of it, and we move on.
There's got to be a united approach, and I think we've all got to be prepared to accept that we've lost 2 years of football, and
yeah,
that's the price to pay for what has been a much bigger issue. Like,
yeah,
we can move on from it and accept it, and hopefully, as I've said over the weeks, learn from it.
Yeah,
because I think it's getting to the point, of what's happened in the National League, that this season's turned out to be a bigger fuss than last season. In terms of the way it's being handled. Yeah. Exactly as Dan says there, null and void, start again August.
Yeah, null and void, start again in August. Bring on the cup games, says Slim. Yeah, I mean, I suppose now that we actually have a date that we can go, right, this is when we're allowed to start. I suppose the next big question, hopefully what we'll find out in the upcoming weeks, is are spectators going to be allowed to come to those games or to those events from that point? Or are we going to have to wait until the June sort of time when further restrictions are eased a little bit? Because clubs are now going to be thinking, right, well, if the season's done and dusted, that we can't play any league games. That's done, right? That's a given now. We want to be able to organize some games of our own to generate some revenue of our own. So if we want to organize these events, we need to know that fans are going to be able to turn up to these games. So that's now the next big question, is when are fans and spectators and volunteers allowed to come along to the games and start serving alcohol, start serving food, getting all of the experience of what it's like to come to a ground again? Because that's going to be the next thing, isn't it? Clubs are going to want to do that. They're going to want to organize their own games and own tournaments and friendly matches just to get some sort of feel-good factor going around their football club before next season starts, because you don't want to wait until July before you start, playing pre-season friendlies again. Clubs are going to want to do stuff now, wouldn't you thought?
There's going to be some lively WhatsApp groups over the next 4 weeks as people suddenly realise they need to get some miles in the legs. It's all going to be about the 5K times again. Now we know that we're going back.
As now we have a date, people are going to start dramatically losing weight, and I'm one of those people. Now that I know that this is the date I can be back in the pub by, I need to start looking good again. This is not acceptable. This right here, what has happened in this past year, is not on. I need to seriously start dropping some weight again. So if you're in the Stowmarket area and you see me running past your house, just give me a quick wave when I get back on my jogs again. Dan has said National League is such a mess. Step 2 should be continuing. All the clubs took the official grants and then budgeted best case scenario rather than the worst case scenario. I think the problem is for them is that they're all adamant. They are absolutely adamant that they thought the funding in the second part of the year was grants as well. They were not aware that it was loans. That's the farce about the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's a whole legal case around that, I know. Big budgeting players have not showed up, apparently. Ben Matthew, trouble with step 3 and 4 is a lot of contracted players are paid weekly, not per game. Asking players to play 3 games a week whilst managing work and family commitments is too much. Completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Completely agree with that. For those that want to play some fundraising local derby friendlies, this is exactly what I said, Dan. Exactly what I said. Null and void, eat cake till pre-season start August. That's just Dean on there. Adam and James select 11 versus Soham Town Rangers. Oh,
don't ask me to select an 11.
Oh no, I could do it. I'd be well up for that. Bring an SIL best 11 to play Soham Town Rangers.
That's quite a difference in steps.
No, not with my boys. Not with my boys, I tell you.
Oh dear. I'm going to be careful I don't get any more SIL beef thrown at me, so we'll be quiet now.
No, I'll be well up for that, Jason. Absolutely well up for that. Dean, I haven't stopped eating cake, says Ev. Friendly should be arranged up to the end of May, start of June, then come back for the middle of July, start end of August is down on here as well. So yeah, it's like I said, that's now the next big thing is when are we going to start, when are fans going to be allowed back in? And then, as you said quite rightly, I think WhatsApp messages are going to be pinging off left, right, and center. I think clubs are going to start trying to get something organized. Who knows? We could see, we could start to see some games being organized, and then hopefully our match day experiences will return, depending on when we're allowed to come back to certain games, etc. So
I'd love
exciting
a
times.
match day experience before May. If we could do one before May, that would be amazing.
Yeah. I'm so disappointed that the last match day experience I've done is the one that's currently on the channel. You have no idea how much that wrangles me at the moment. It's just really winding me up. So I want to get another one in before the official cut-off point of this season. I just want one more and then I can rest easy. Just the fact that the last one is the last one is just
yeah. Oh dear.
But there we go. So yeah, that's the current update from everything at the moment. Sorry, as I take a swig. I think it's time to bring in our guest. Don't you think?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. This man, and I'm going to read out a little description before I bring him off onto the screen here, is as I've had messaged during the week, is the most passionate man for non-league football and Stanton you will ever meet. So, without further ado, I bring onto the screen Matt HAZELTON. Matt, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good, thank you. Just a bit mortified about chins 3 and 4 on here now. Lockdown chins.
See, the trick is, Matt, as we found out, you've got to have the camera above you, looking down, and then it doesn't show up here.
Then, won't you? This getting up fun, is it?
That's why I wear a hat. You see, there's ways around this, Matt. If you wear a hat, camera looking down, if you grow your beard out, then no one can see it. It's absolutely fine. You wear black, no one can see the weight you've gained.
Then
I've got this covered.
Well, so it's a lose-lose, really, isn't
it? So how are you, mate? How are things?
Very good
at the moment. How's lockdown 3 going for you?
It's been all right, you know. I'm lucky. I'm very busy with work and weekends, kids, or I get hammered. To be quite honest with you, I sort of drink it away, Macca. But I'm looking forward to a bit of normality. I have to say, I really am. I can't wait to be able to go out again.
Yeah, definitely. You kind of mentioned it beforehand, but have you found this? Have you found this version of lockdown tougher than the first 2?
Far tougher than the other 2. The other 2 weren't too bad. You have your moments, didn't you? But I found that one. I found this one a lot harder. You know, I think it's bleak in it the winter anyway. Weather's been crap, wet, cold. So it's just been a bit harder. Like I said to you before start, people who normally breeze through life, I know, have struggled themselves. So, yeah. Let's look for it. We've got good news, haven't we? We've got a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. You know, let's look forward, eh?
Yeah. What have you been doing to keep yourself going so far, Matt? What have you been doing to keep yourself going so far?
Be honest with you, I've been enjoying myself as much as I can. I've got my own little man cave here, and I come in here. It feels like I've gone out because I come out of my house, come in here, put some music on, have a few drinks, you know, and next thing you know, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, I just try and enjoy myself as much as I can. I think that's what I do in all my life. You've got to enjoy every minute, haven't you?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I just want to very quickly ask you before we kind of get too deep into it. Obviously, you've seen the kind of updates and everything that's been going on today. In terms of what you would do to kind of get the season, I mean, obviously, we know it's not going to be finished, etc. Would you have any of this argument that people are saying about taking some of the results from this season into next, or do you just think completely start from scratch? Where do you kind of sit on it?
From my point of view, and I think I'll be talking for the Stanton committee, and you know, let's just forget about it. I don't want nothing more to do with this year. Don't even think about asking us to play any games. You know, let's just get on to next season when hopefully we can have the change rooms back, have the bars open. You know, because volunteers do it as their social thing, don't they? You know, and if you haven't got that for the, you know, people do it for an enjoyment. They have to get something out of it as well. Not just the players. So it's about the whole club, isn't it? So for everyone, let's just scrub this year. Let's get on with it in August, you know.
How have you found when we were playing games this season? How have you found the experience of what?
Soulless.
Sorry?
About the change room. Football's about the change room. Everything's done in the change room. You know, actually playing is a very small part of the day. You know, so it's all about, you know, the whole thing of football, like when I was playing, or rarely playing, but the football focus in the mornings or soccer AM, you know, and then you get to the ground, you know, a bit of music on in the changing rooms. That's what it's about, being in that changing room with people. You know, football's won and lost in that changing room. You know, that's the special area. You know, and without that change room, it ain't worth doing. You know, and if you can't go for a few things afterwards, what's the point? You know, it is, you know, at our level, at Stanton's level, that's what you've got to try and create, and you've got to have. You know, the change room, everything. You know, throughout when I was managing, when I was playing, you know, that's the whole atmosphere. You set the tone in that changing room.
Yeah. Macca agrees with you on that one. He said 100% is about the changing room.
James.
Sorry?
Lucky enough to play for me, so he knows what it was like. I've been in quite a few rows, to be quite honest with you. I think get on very well with him when we're talking about football away from the pitch, near a pitch. We probably do, but it's because he's a winner as well. In fairness to Macca.
So just for those who don't know your kind of affiliation with non-league, just give us a little bit of a background as to what what clubs you've been associated to, where people will kind of know you best from.
I played at Cockfield for one season when I was about 18. The rest of my footballing time has been spent at Stanton and Bardwell. You know, Stanton on Saturday, Bardwell on a Sunday. You know, and I've been going to watch Stanton. You know, my dad played for Stanton, managed at Stanton. My granddad managed Stanton. My brother played for Stanton, managed Stanton. My uncle played for Stanton. You know, I'm a total Stanton lad. It's in my blood. You know, I've been going ever since I was a nipper. You know, so yeah, my affiliation with Stanton has been forever. You know, I used to grow up watching players like Noddy Miller, 80, Pants, Ginge, you know, Ellick, Neil Ellers. You know, they might not mean a lot to you guys, but to me, they meant everything. Because they were my heroes. I was growing up. You know, Hubby. You can chuck all sorts of names in there. Paul Wilf. You know, there's Cole Peachman, Spike, Anthony Bray, who was exceptional. You know, all these people were like my heroes when I was growing up. You know, all I ever wanted to do was play for Stanton. You know, I come from a football family, like I said. You know, my whole family's weekend was football. So, you know, like Saturdays we'd go and watch Stanton. Sundays my dad was running my team, and my brother was playing for Norwich and then later Colchester. So all our family weekends were just football. So, you know, and when I finally got to get in a changing room with them guys, for me, it was like winning the World Cup. You know, I was looking around that change room as like a 15-year-old lad thinking, this is me, you know. I'm now in the change room with my heroes, you know, and that was a massive thing for me. And also, this is where the change room is so important, because I've learned more life lessons in that changing room than I probably have anywhere else in my life. You know, in Stanton, we were very, very lucky that, or I think we were lucky, we were ingrained from a very young age. You never, ever, ever give up. You never, ever let them beat you. If they're beating you playing the football, if they beat you playing the football, you don't let them beat you in here, and you let them know that they've been in a game before they go off that pitch. You know, we were told, you know, we're losing last 10, stick them up in the fucking air, you know. Make them realise that they've have to earn that right to beat us. And we were told, never, ever, ever give up, you know, right through from Brian Cotton to Dean Bailey to Terry Pearce to Ginge, you know, and it's something that we've always kept going. And even now, like Muzzy had that, our manager now, Muzzy lived that with us, do you know what I mean? So it's still being ingrained now. So, and I think it's coming back now, you know, so it's a, you know, I feel very lucky that I've had that in my life. Yeah, because I do feel that from the point of view of a club like ourselves, we've lost a lot of players through like these like college centres, like the academies at smaller clubs. We've lost a lot of players out to them. We've lost players to like EGA football and those sort of ilk. And I think, even though, don't get me wrong, they're great for them clubs and they're great probably for the kids, for their education, I feel like they're losing a lot of life skill through doing that. I'm just talking from our point of view. I grew up where in an era where there was a lot of good local players. You know, in Stanton, an awful lot of good footballers.
Yeah.
You know, a lot went to play for Walsham, in fairness, but you know, we had a lot of good footballers. You know, and we all grew up together. You know, we all had that tightness.
Do you think that makes a difference to that to that kind of team, to that team spirit, that team? Because anyone can chuck the best group of players together and hope that it kind of works and get the players pulled into this big academy system, but having a group of players who are from the area, know the club like inside out, who've been there from start to finish. Do you think that really helped back in the day?
No doubt. I'll give you an instance. Like we got to the semi-final of the Sunday Cup, and we were at the time, Walsham weren't Senior League, they weren't Regions League or whatever it is now, Furlough None. They were in the Senior SIL. Stanton were in the Senior. So we were made up of Stanton and Walsham players pretty much, and we played a team called Notley's from Lowestoft, which were all virtually all Lowestoft town players.
Yep.
And we beat them through sheer determination, sheer guts, bollocks, and the will to win, you know. And our best player on that day probably only played 10 games for Stanton first team. Most of his time he played in reserves. He's one of my best friends. And he was the best player for us that day, but he wanted it more than other people. You know, Toby White was his name. He wanted it more than them people who were playing at a lot higher level. So when you said, James, about I'd take an SIL team over the Sun, bloody right I would. You know, there's some very, very good players in the SIL. Very good players.
I know. That's why I said it. That's why I said it so confidently.
You know, the worst thing, you know, especially at Bardwell, because we did have some bigger name, and some of the lads I grew up with become bigger names like Paul Muzz, Trevor Newman, you know, the Ross brothers, Goody, all played up higher. My brother went higher. Ben Wake, you know, Chunky Wake, Stuart Logan, you know, we had, but some of the best players, the first names on my team sheet were people like Michael Roberts, Dean Shave. You know, they were all maybe so-called lesser names within the others, but they were there and they'd done it week in, week out for us. It's not about all the superstars. It's about togetherness and wanting it. That's what it's about. It's about the passion, the drive. That's what it's about.
Definitely. We've got Slim's comment here. Always said the village sides are hard to play against, growing up through football together, but will always leave for bigger clubs on there. Nick Zarkos says, I remember my first derby against Stanton when playing for Walsham. I thought it was last man standing wins. And Nathan has put on here, whenever you played Stanton, you always knew you were going into a battle. It's like going to war with them, which is, I think,
you know, that's what I love. I love that. You know, that's how it should be. That's what we're about. We should be. You know, that's what we always go for. You know, and I was immensely proud of that. You know, that we'd always known that we'd never fold for no one. And we went through we've been through a few rough years recently. You know, and it's not down to the players or the management. We've tried a lot of different things, but I actually can see with how the club's progressing at the minute, we've got a lot of things going on. I can really see light at the end of the tunnel of that as well, and it's absolutely, I can't wait, to be honest. There's a lot of big things playing at the club, and I'm really excited with Muzzy, Ferg, and also the work that Gary Newman put in previously, and Lee Sturgeon before him. So, you know, it's really starting to move the right way. But, you know, and that's one of the things that absolutely gripped me. Like when I was young, I remember I went and watched Stanton win the Junior Cup final at Needham, 1993, 94. And I went with my dad and that, and on the way back, my dad said, we'll call into the pub to see all the boys after the game. Right, and the biggest memory, one of the biggest things that's always stuck in my head was seeing them boys get off that bus with that trophy, you know, all drinking, singing, you know, and seeing them walk up through my village or our village, you know, it never left here, you know, it's absolute, and I thought, that's what I want. I want a piece of that. I want to win trophies, you know. So it's been, and my dad gave me 20 quid, and I stayed in the pub with them all night. You know, I think I was only 15, I got about 2 o'clock in the morning. But you know, it was like the best night of my life. You know, I absolutely loved it. You know, and that was really started my love affair with it. And you know, when you used to go up the Rec, I mean, Zarky's just mentioned it a little bit there. I mean, we might as well talk about it now, but you know, Stanton Walsham games, there's no exaggeration. There'd be 200-300 people up there. You know, and it would be an absolute bloodbath. It was a massive. There's always been a rivalry. There's always been a rivalry with Stanton and Walsham, the villages historically. You know, punch ups and all that sort of thing. But you know, the football. Honestly, it was a big thing for both villages. It really was a big thing. You know, when Paul Muzz left Stanton to go to Walsham, we were in the pub one night. He announced he'd gone. One of my pals set fire to him in the pub, just as well he had cotton on and not polyester. Otherwise, he'd have gone up like a. But he did. His shirt got set fire to in the pub. That's true story, Muzzy. I know Cinny's on here, so he'll clarify it as a true story. You know, it was. You know, there's players when players got. One of the Walsham players got sent off one time. A couple of lads went down and beat him up as he was going in the change room. Not right thing to do, but that was the rival. You know, it
was that a guaranteed thing to like? Would things like that kick off every single time you played?
Walsham, yeah. I mean, I can remember as well, like playing. I mean, Paul Smith obviously had played everywhere. You know, he'd just been named as one of the most legendary strikers in Suffolk football, and rightly so. And I'll tell you a story about Smithy in a bit. But, you know, when he came there, and he played everywhere, he played in Vars. Even he said once it was one of the rarest things he's ever experienced. You know, it was. And you've got to remember that most of the people playing were still good friends. You know, but it did start crossing the line. I mean, it's not like that now because there you go. It's not like that now because obviously they've gone, you know, Mike Powell's, Peter Bailey and Paul Smith happened to Walsham and went like that. You know, whereas we didn't, you know, they you know, and full respect to them for that. But the rivalry was intense. You can guarantee there'll be a punch up and a red card, yeah, for sure. But it's great fun, you know. I really look forward to them. When the fixtures come out, right? The fixtures I always look for, obviously, first and foremost, Walsham.
Yeah.
Old Newton, Hawley, and Achilles, because I couldn't stand Achilles. You know, I used to really look forward to going over to their place. You know, I love going over there. But, you know, Old Newton and Hawley, you get heckled from the sideline like there's no tomorrow, you know, which I loved as well. You know, we always liked having them up at our place, but I loved going to their grounds. You know, I thrived on it, loved it. You know,
where did that rivalry stem from? I mean, like, was it there when you first started going?
Yeah, it's been like it ever since I've been going. You know, probably even since my dad and that were playing. You know, there's always been that rivalry between the two villages. Like I say, it's not like that now because Walsham's gone up here and we're here, but. You know, and what they've built there is amazing.
Mm.
You know, but it's also like one of my dreams was always to run a team with Trevor Newman. Trev's one of my best pals. And I nearly got him to come and do Stanton with me once, but at the last minute he says, I can't do it. You know, and I'll never go over there and do anything with him. So that rivalry is still ingrained in both. And bear in mind, he lived in Stanton.
That's brilliant.
You know, so that will stop us ever doing that together. Well, we will do, yes, because neither of us will go to the other club.
So thinking about those rivalries that you've had there over the years, and you're saying as well, like even going back for your dad's years playing as well, like how on earth if we tie up the very first snippet of conversation about how important the change rooms were, what was the atmosphere in the change room like? Those 90 minutes,
mate, on Derby Day, it was unbelievable. Like, honestly. I would love for you to have been able to. It was just everyone was like wide-eyed around there, like music on, and you were pumped. You know, most of the time, a lot of the older players were AC/DC heads, so you know it's proper. everyone was pumped right up. You know, it's brilliant. I wish every footballer should have experienced that. Every footballer should. It was brilliant. Absolutely.
The passion is absolutely incredible. Like,
You know, and I still, you know, it's just. And I'll go back to Smithy now. You talk about passion for football. I mean, Smithy, like I said, I guess you guys know Paul Smith, don't you? Or have heard of his sort of.
yeah, I'd heard of him. Yeah,
Heard of, yeah.
Well, Paul Smith played everywhere. Woodbridge, Sudbury, you know, played in the Vars final. Hopefully, Shem, I'd love it. You know, he played at all these levels at top clubs, and Paul Muzz got him to come and play for us on a Sunday. You know, my big thing was that I really wanted to win the Sunday Cup. You know, I had this massive passion for winning the Sunday Cup. You know, because there's some big, you know, some really good, like I say, really good standard players in there. So I wanted to. Muzzy got Smithy to come and play, and we were playing. I think it was a quarter final. Up at Bardwell, you know, and bear in mind, Smithy at this time was about 43, 44 years old, you know, and to see the passion of that man playing on a Sunday morning for Bardwell after doing everything that he'd done, playing at Wembley, you know, the lad at the back got the ball and Smithy chased him from centre forward to right back and made a tackle on our goal line. You know, at 44 years old, you know, that shows what, you know, I hated playing around him. As far as I was concerned, he's a Welsh and tosser, you know, before he come to play for us. You know, when he's there, he's one of them, but when he's with us, he's one of us, isn't he? You know, but for him at that age, you know what I mean? I think he won the Sunday Cup 25 years apart. I think he won it for Milton Youth Club and then won it with us. So he won it 25 years apart. You know, that speaks volumes for the man. That's why he had such longevity doing what he did at Walsham, and was why he was so successful then, because he just had that will to win, you know, and he ingrained it. That's why Muzzy will do well. And a lot of the lads who have been around us have all gone into management and done all right, really.
Yeah.
You know, Trevor Newman, you know, Matty's doing well. You know, there's a lot of our group of lads who got them same traits who are doing well, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to ask a couple of questions on it because Slim's put on here. Do you think that the passion died down now that a lot of players have moved around clubs?
Yeah, mate. I don't, you know, I do massively. You know, like I said earlier, one of the massive things for us was like always having that team spirit. We'd finish playing football, we'd go to a few beer, and then we'd all be out in town together, you know. And you lose, even when SIL used to do Club of the Month nights. And we were lucky enough to win it quite a few times as it goes, because we were doing all right. Got the Senior Cup final, got the Omnico Cup final, and my sister-in-law used to organise a bus. So we'd go on the bus, go to the Club of the Month, and then we'd just go out in Ipswich on a drink on like a Wednesday night. You know? That's how close. It wasn't just the players; it was the committee. It was everything. You know, it special times, really.
Definitely.
And so the answer is to Slims. I don't feel it's the same, no. But then things change, you know. And they, you know, I'm as bad as the next man, but mobile phones and all that technology have got a lot to do with it. You know, no one really talks now, do they? When they're face to face, we're all too busy texting or looking at Facebook or porn on our phones, aren't we? You know, you know, there's always something else to do, isn't there?
That's a bit of a different getting pumped, isn't it, in the changing room, that one? Sorry, I had to say it. Matt Chaplin says, one of my favourite clubs to play for.
He's had enough. He has. He's had enough clubs. Jesus Christ.
I wasn't going to say it.
SIL Chaplin, Messi can't he?
I've seen it with quite a few clubs, to be fair, and I've only been covering it for at least 3 or 4 years. So I know exactly what he's saying.
He's my daughter's favourite player to play for Stanton. He was, and you know, my daughter's been dragged to games from like she's 2 years old. Well, not dragged because she loves it, but Messi's always been her all-time favourite player.
Yeah, definitely. Nathan says on here, passion and rivalry isn't how it used to be all them years ago. Matthew, the committee is so important to non-league teams on here now. Shem asked, did Scowcroft ever come and play for Stanton in the end?
Yeah, he
Mark.
did. Yeah, he had a couple of games, not many. He had a couple of games. I think from memory, he got whacked. Someone whacked him somewhere, and I think he went in the change and said, "That's me done." So, but he played when he first came out of the pro game. He played one game for us against Thetford in a friendly, and you know, he was leagues above any other player. He just sort of great. Right. I mean, my nan used to live next door to Scully, so I used to see what Scully put into being pro. You know, he would be in that garden all the time playing football, doing kick-ups. He had a goal in his garden and he'd be out there all the time. So, you know, some people can get jealous of what players earn and stuff like that. But I think Scully deserves everything that he done. You know, I see exactly what he had to put in it and also what he had to separate himself through, you know. He was growing up in an era when a lot of people were going to raves and partying and doing whatever. Scully distanced himself and channeled himself into being a pro. So I have a lot of respect for him doing that.
Yeah, definitely. Just kind of talk to us about how the management kind of position came around at Stanton then, because obviously I know you said you've been involved and, you know, followed the club for quite some time. How did that all happen then?
Me becoming manager. I was first manager.
Yeah.
I was first manager at the first team at 25.
Right.
I managed the reserves quite young, and then we won the league, we won the cup. And Terry, we'd been to the Senior Cup the season before, Senior Cup final, and got spanked by Melford. But for a club like us, we're probably the smallest club to ever got the Senior Cup final. So, you know, it was a massive match. I think there was over 1,000 fans there, you know, and Stanton took about four or five buses over there, you know. Great day out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stories about that, but I probably shouldn't say them on here. But it was a great day out, you know. And well, actually, I will say, there's a Melford lad who's getting a bit gobby, and one of my pals had a bit too much to drink. And this Melford lad was hammered, was getting gobby, and that. My mate said, "I don't know what you're laughing about," because he'd just pissed in his pocket. So. True story. My mate Cannonball done that. True story. True story. In the stand, in the Cobbold stand. True story. We were probably the smallest club to ever get this. Terry was manager at the time. Things weren't going so well, and there was a committee meeting, and Terry sort of said he's had enough, really. You know, and Terry had been fantastic. Terry. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Terry Pierce, but he's a proper old character. You know, He's a few doors down from me now, but he had this flowing hair, you know, based himself on Georgie Best. He's actually making it work. And, you know, played for Ipswich, and the legend has it round, he likes to spice the legend up, that Bobby Robson told him to have his hair cut, and he refused. So that's why he got bombed out of Ipswich and went to Bournemouth. How true, we'll never know. You know, so to sort of be asked to fill his boots was quite a big thing, really, because, you know, Terry used to be with us all the time. He'd come to Bardell games, we'd be drinking together. So I felt a little bit like I was stepping on his shoes, but I really wanted to do it. Yeah. So I'd done it, and we actually beat Grunsborough 1-0 the first game. And we've got 16 points all season, and the next 6 games we've got 16 points to stay up. So it was going well. Yeah. So I started at 25. I'd done it for about a year and a half, and then I sort of packed it up for a little while. And then I went back when Colin Anderson was manager, and then I went back again about 3-4 years ago when the club was a bit of a muddle, and I tried to help steady the ship, which I think I'd done, but I was disappointed that I didn't do more with that team. I should have done more with that team, really.
How did it feel? Like you said, like when you just went back 3 or 4 years ago, the club was in a bit of a muddle on that. As someone that's been so passionate about the club for so many years, how difficult was it going in knowing that you've got a bit of a job
though, you know,
to do?
because that's when I best, you know, when you're up, when the back's against the wall. I think it brings out the best. May not bring the best out of me on the touchline because I'm too animated. It really gets me fired up, you know, and I really want to help try and get the back going. So yeah, it really gets me, it got me fired up. I just loved it.
Dean on there, brilliant. We've got a few questions that have been coming in on here. Where was the first one? There's posted a couple of posts ago. Where is it? Matthew says, "What is the highest league and team you've played for?" I think you answered that earlier on.
Yeah, senior in Stanton, mate. I've only ever played with Stanton and Bardwell, really. Can't feel for one.
We've had Shem who's asked a question on here. Your all-time Stanton 1 to 11.
Fucking hell. Oh, the keeper's easy, Andy Musto. Right back, I'd probably go, I don't know, right back, left back would be my brother, centre halves, Goody, and Spike. Right back, I'd probably go with Wilf. Left midfield, Noddy. Centre midfield, Pants. And Miles Turner. Right midfield, Shavy. Centre forwards, Neil Ellers and Nathan Clark's dad, Johnny Clark. Subs would be Michael Campbell, Cordell Jackson, Ginge Ellis. We'll go with
the fact that you've been able just to reel off a 1 to 11 just like that is just absolutely incredible. I love that.
Absolutely.
Any thinking time at all. That was incredible.
That's the sort of thing I think about when I've got a bit of downtime now. Is that answer the question, Kev?
I would like to think so.
Simo's another one like Messi, who's had millions of clubs. Fantastic footballer, though, like
Messi. Paul has put on here, still no mention of the Gunners and your goal in the FA Cup final. What's that all about?
It's when we played Vets. I went and played with Rick and all with Noz. And a few of me mates like Shavy and all that. And Trev Newman had a few games and Kevin Clark. Loads of me friends, really. It was just loads of the old lads. And we were only just over that 35 limit. But I don't think I probably ever enjoyed my football like I did doing that, you know. I think that was I really enjoyed playing that season. Really enjoyed it. And yes, I did score a goal in the cup final and actually got man of the match as well. So it's probably the highest accolade I got as a player, to be honest.
Was it a decent goal or was it like a shin from the
something header, you know, defied the laws of gravity, level with a crossbar. I didn't know what to do. I hadn't scored for so long, I forgot what to do, and I'd done like this stupid chicken dance, which people still paying me for now. Noz will be gagging for me to say as well. He's the best player I ever played with in the Vets, which he was. He was pretty decent. All you had to really do was lump the ball forward to him and let him do the rest. In fairness to him.
So yeah, Ben's put, I don't even make the bench. Adam has said no, Matt Muzz.
Fourth sub, Screws. Fourth sub.
You've obviously done. Yeah, Shem says he's happy with that one. Nathan said, not surprised, mate. Here you got Stanton relegated. Jesus,
wow, that's harsh.
Jesus,
that is Clarky. Do you guys know Clarky?
I know him from Twitter.
Yeah, I'll say the same. Yeah,
that's actually quite nice for Clarky, to be fair.
Wow,
that lad there is the best player, not from round this way, to have not made it pro. And you know, you can't say not reach the level that he should have as such, because he's obviously been happy playing the level that he is. But ability-wise, he should have played a lot. He was magic, Clarky.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm gonna bring up a couple of Twitter questions on here. So yeah, I think Paul, who's obviously been in the chat just a few moments ago, asked, "Who's the best Vets player he's ever played with?"
Yeah, that's what he asked. That's because he wanted me to say him. So yeah, it was. I'll give it to Nozadal.
Yeah, nice on there. I had a Twitter message coming in from Carl Warner who said, I don't know whether or not he's going to want to ask this one, but if you had to wear one football shirt for an entire day out of Norwich or Walsham and the Willows, which one would it be?
I couldn't wear either, to be quite honest with you. I tell you what I'll do. Someone gives me £1,000, I'll wear each one for a week and give it to charity. Failing that, I'll wipe me backside with them. That's the answer. That's my answer. You know, if there's going to be some money go to good cause, I'd do it. But otherwise, no, I'm not wearing that sort of stuff.
No,
that's why
so you can pick.
That's why I stopped playing vets, because Nozza and that took their team to Walsham and I wouldn't play for Walsham. So I stopped playing. Yeah, it's a true story, that, yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely love that. And he said he reached his full potential of drinking.
That is something I do pretty well with. I ain't a bad drinker at times. Well, mind you, I can be a pain in the arse as well. So not always good.
So, I mean, obviously, I want to get a little bit more into your management spells at Stanton. Obviously, you've said you've been there quite a few times now. Has there been kind of reasons why because obviously it's a club that means a lot to you, why you've then sort of stepped back and then gone back into the management and gone a little bit back and forth on it? Because you said you've had kind of 3 spells there.
Yeah, I've always done it because I think it was for the right reasons. The clubs, if I've had too much going on in my life and I've had to take a step back, or the last one, I probably weren't in the best place. There was a lot go on in my private life, and I wasn't probably in the best place to be. You know, I think really I had a dark cloud over my head. I was getting sent off the sideline virtually every week. You know, I was being a tool, making a dick of myself every week. And, you know, and I just thought it was time to, I felt like I was bringing the players down as well. You know, the whole trick about a happy club is giving the players the best playing environment. And I didn't think I'd given them the best playing environment. So I felt it was better for the club that I stepped aside. But also, you know, I mean, before I say that, you get some excuses that start winding you up and all that. But this is more of a funny one now. I'm not really got the hump about this, but you get the excuses, don't you, about not playing, right? And Lee Sturgeon had come to help me manage at this point after a chat at Latitude, and on the Friday, I can't remember if it was a Friday or Saturday morning. I mean, this lad is also, he's made my Stanton 11 or on the bench, you know, and I have the utmost respect for him. He's captain of the club now, but, you know, I get a text message on the Friday night saying, sorry, Sways, I can't play tomorrow. It's my dog's fucking birthday. True story. I can't play because it's my dog's birthday. You know, I mean, I laughed because if I hadn't, I'd have smashed the phone over my forehead. You know, but that's true. I'm going to name and shame him. It was Cordell Jackson. So if any of you boys play against Cordell, cane him for that, please. But yeah, he couldn't play because it was his dog's birthday.
Did he ever tell you what he had planned for the big day?
No, it was the trouble is Cordell is a bit pussy whipped when he's in a relationship, you know, so his missus was telling him what to do as normal.
Everyone knew who you were talking about the moment you started that story. I've had quite a few people saying
it's the thing of Stanton folklore, that is.
Oh, that is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant.
That one's prime.
But, you know, going back to like the Stanton Walsham thing as well, I mean, we played in a cup final against Walsham in what's now the Bob Coleman Cup, about 2001 time. You know, just to give you an example of how close the group of lads were, I think there was 5 sets of brothers played in that final. So you had in goal, you had 2 twins, the Musto brothers. You had me and my brother. You had the 2 Rosses, 3 Musgroves, 3 Newmans. I think that was it. But, you know, there's about 12 or 13 players between the 2 teams that were brothers. You know, and that goes without the other lads that we grew up with on there.
Hmm.
You know,
Incredible.
so you know, that's how
Add some
close it was.
spice to it anyway.
Oh yeah, it did. It
Yeah.
did. You know, but the thing was, we thought it was a good idea before the game to go around the golf, right? We were treating it like, and we got there, and we got out there, and like most of us had gone, and like Spike Anthony Bray went absolutely ballistic when he found out in the changing room, and we were a bit leggy, and within about 20 minutes we were 3-0 down.
Oh.
So, listen, 3-0. Yeah, so lesson learned, you know, relax, don't go walk around the golf course before a big game. We were all done, we thought we knew better. And that night, actually, Gary Pearce fell out the back, the emergency exit of the bus and buggered his arm up, poor fella. And also, the landlord from the pub actually got kicked out for saying break his fucking legs about one of our players to Paul Musk because it was just after he'd left.
Yeah.
When you spoke at the start about you were first in that changing room, which you had seen as being like the epitome of what you wanted to achieve. You wanted to be in that squad, and you said you're in there at 15. Like it's quite common for people to kind of get initiated into change rooms. Did you get a hard time when you first went into that change room at 15?
Oh, they told me about my man boobs and stuff like that, you know. Because a lot, you know, they came me about that. But of course, you get grief, don't you? But then, you know, to me, I couldn't give a fuck if it had smacked me on the snout. You know, I was where I wanted to be. You know, I know I probably did, but that's other people who've done that. But you know, that's you know, that's where I wanted to be. That's where I didn't go there enough, really. I was a bit of a dick with my career, really. Not that I'd have been that great. I wouldn't have ever played anywhere apart from Stanton because I didn't want to. You know, but I could have had a lot better career than I did. I never looked after myself, and I was an idiot. We had very short fuse and stuff. So,
right. I mean I mean, I'll ask Matthew's question on here. What position did you play? What was your where were you on the pitch?
Half, centre forward was my favourite probably, but left back a lot.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I had a question actually. I can't remember who sent it in. If somebody to me on Twitter actually said, "What's been the best game you've been involved in with Stanton?"
Talk us through that one.
Semi-final against Great Cornard of the Senior Cup. We won 3-2. Right. Yeah, that without Leader Market. Yeah, that one without a shadow of doubt. That's a day I'll never forget, for sure.
What was so good about that one?
It was just, like I said to you, we were a small club playing against Cornard, who had, I think his name was Christian McLean, he played for Bristol Rovers and stuff. You know, they had a half-decent side. You know, and we went there and little old Stanton upstaged them, you know. So, yeah, to us, that was a massive thing at the time. We were all young lads. The average age wasn't that great, you know, wasn't that old. And it was, it was just, it was magic. Absolutely. But that whole time
afterwards.
Pardon?
Wild scenes afterwards with you all getting together.
Yeah, till about 3 or 4 in the morning, you know. That's we knew at the party. We knew even when we lost in the Senior Cup final, we didn't go to bed till 6 in the morning, you know.
Do it properly.
We've done everything together, which is the key to being successful.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Ali said on there, I remember playing in one of Matt's first games for Stanton. We beat Hawley 6-5.
I remember that game, and my dad came on the pitch before the game. I was only about 14. It was before you had to be 16 to play. And my dad came on the pitch, and Hawley's pitch is quite often quite heavy, isn't it? And he come on the pitch and slid over. He slid right on his arse. I'll never forget it. Yeah. That back in the Brown Bomber days, 80s car was known as the Brown Bomber. Oh, by the way, he gets a right hump with you, call him Addy. So,
I know he does. That's why I carry it on. He messaged me a couple of months ago. He said, "You've got to stop calling me that." And I was like, "No." I said, "I'm not going to stop."
Right, keep it going. I laugh every time I hear you do it.
There's some people that are quite young that watch the show and tune in and are really sort of getting involved in local football at this point. Like, just for their purpose, really. Like, how common was it for people under the age of 16 to be involved in local games at that level. Was that a common thing, or had you just managed to cut through yourself quite early?
I mean, my brother was far better than me, but my brother was in the first team regularly at 14.
Yeah,
you know, there was loads of players. We all used to, you know, all of us played under 16 for sure. Shavy, Goody, me, my brother, the Muzzies. Well, Paul was still at Ipswich, I think, at that age. You know, Paul was still here, but Matty was playing at the same ages as us. You know, we all were there together. You know, Matty's other brother. You know, we all come through together. So we were all there. As soon as we could play football, we were playing with Stanton.
Yeah,
you know, that was all of what we all wanted to do. You got to remember, we were all kicking a ball around together. You know, the only problem, you know, one of the sad things is that we lost 3 very, very good footballers to Walsham very early, like Paul Newman, Trevor Newman, and Gary Newman. You know, they lived in Stanton virtually all their lives, but they ended up at Walsham. You know, if we'd have had them 3, you would have seen an even bigger thing come from Stanton at that time, in my opinion.
How much of a difference do you think it would have potentially made to Stanton's trajectory at that time, having them 3 in your squad?
Well, to have them, I think it would have made a big difference, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Certainly would have made us from sort of mid-table at best to top half for sure. Top sort of 5 for sure. You know, you've got to remember, Trev was a phenomenal player. You know, he had the pace of a snail, but he read the game like he did. I mean, he made me look like Usain Bolt, you know. And I'm 18 stone now. So, you know, he had snail's pace, but he read the game better than anyone that I've played football with. Trev was magic. Absolute magic.
Kurt's put on here, nowadays it's a struggle to get anyone 16 to 18 to even up to 21 to join a club. Not committed enough sometimes, or would rather play under 18/under 21s football on there.
Which it can be even hard just to break through naturally, though, James, can't it? To be given the opportunity.
This is where we go back to this academies and, you know, the hyped up stuff. They sell people a dream, which I don't think that dream is what they sell them. And I'm not knocking if that, you know, I understand why they do it, and some of them, but there's a few lads I can think of who realistically won't play no higher than senior football, but they've got a dream. They've been sold a dream that isn't really, you know, and I think they're missing out on a lot of other things, even though they're getting a good education doing it. I don't doubt that one minute. I think they're missing out on a lot of other things that give them better life skills. I really do.
Yeah.
And that lad there, Kurt Bevan, my son used to play for. He's magic, that lad. He does so much for a team at Emswell on a Sunday. For a lad his age, it is crazy what he does.
Yeah, you know, he does put in a lot of effort.
A lot of experience of people letting him down quite badly. And it's tough, you know. But we had this conversation. I think Dean brought it up, or someone brought it up last week. And while we're on the subject, Dean, what a fantastic guest he was. Amazing. I really enjoyed that last week. And he's honest. There's actually, I will drop him a message because probably a few things I can do to help him with. We're not helping, but with stuff that I do away from my work. But he, you know, you talked about the amount of leagues there used to be in the SIL. You know, look at where we are now, and where's it going to go?
That was going to be my question.
I was literally just about to ask you a question about the standard of SIL, the number of clubs, what it's been like, how you found the standard of the league has gone over the past 20 years or so.
I've obviously never played anything else. You know, I've watched a lot of other football, but there's a lot of players who are not playing at the level they could do playing in the SIL. I don't care what anybody says. You know, there's some really good players in the SIL that could be playing. There's a lot of players in the SIL who are better than a lot of players who are playing up, but the players up will probably come through these academies and, you know, will play, you know, and these lads haven't, you know, so, but again, that's other people pushing themselves, so you shouldn't really moan about that neither. So it's a difficult one, isn't it?
Did
Yeah,
you, as
definitely.
you like you obviously when you're playing about the men early on and make sure you get in people's heads that you had to give them a hard game. Was that quite interesting in terms of playing over the years, where you found sometimes that was a much easier side of the game than other times? You know, they had people that thought they might have been, you know, they're sort of big time Charlies in terms of the attitude, but mentally you were then all over them, and
Yeah,
it made
no, we mentally, Stanton lads are mentally tough. There's no two ways about it. I don't, absolutely, you know. And another thing that we were always told to do when we done the handshake was shake their hand as hard as you can and stare them in the eye. No, it's true.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
something like and that's what we used to do. You can get in people's heads before you even kick a football. Same as you can win a lot of fights by just, you know, without throwing a punch.
yeah.
You can out mental people. As simple as that. You know, you can get in there. So, yeah, it's there's no doubt about it. You can have an upper hand, no doubt about that.
Yeah. I just want to go back to the point we were talking about with the under 18s, because we've had quite a few comments coming in, so I want to read them out on here. Addy, they said, Matt's one of the reasons why a lot of the under 18s are getting their chance for the Resis and the first team. He's been a massive help to me and the lads on here. Shem put most A sides in the mid-90s had 15, 16-year-olds in them. Luke has put on here, agree, reference the under 18s, get the young lads in early to learn about life. As well, and Matchday Marketing, a lot of younger players now, not all, don't have the work ethic to work their way through the club. They crave instant success and the money. Do you think that's part of the reason, or do you think they're kind of badly advised at that age?
When we were coming through, we were all ground workers, or, you know, we were going into a different industry. Now they want a YouTube channel, don't they? You know, some of these teams put a YouTube video out, like some of them do. And I'm not knocking it. They do what they want, fair play. But I would have loved that if I was manager at Stanton now. I tell you that now. I'd have them so revved up if I'd have seen some video put up in front of me before we were about to play them. I'd have loved it. I'll tell you that now.
Kurt says on here too, right, bringing in players from youth teams, always make sure you have players coming through. At Elmswell, there's very few young lads younger than myself, and I'm 23 now, which
that's interesting.
I tell you that Addy's done an amazing job. He's done an amazing job with it under 8. He's had them since they were like under 9s or something. You know, and they've all come through, and I've watched them all grow, including his son, and, you know, and it's fantastic for me to see that, because I think realistically the last youth team that went right the way through there might have been either a team that Paul Muzzie's dad ran, or our team. You know, that's a lot of years ago now. So yeah, it's been amazing doing that.
Yeah, Slim's put on here that let's hope the size of the SAL doesn't go down, because if it does, it will be losing some great clubs. And then Dean Cooper's, but the difference in football has changed over the years. What do you think has been the biggest change in terms of SIL football? Because again, obviously, we've only been covering it for a little bit of time, but I mean, I think from what I've seen, I think the standard of football is pretty good down to this level. But when I talk to other people, they always say, you know, it's all right, but it's nowhere near it's nowhere near the level it used to
be. I would certainly. You've got to remember, when I first played senior football, Needham was still in the SIL, Leiston was still in the SIL, Witten had gone, Walsham was still in, Debenham were in.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot of clubs that have gone up out of, you know, and a lot of quality that have gone up out of the league. So, you know, you go back to the Grunsborough sides, you know, when Beaumont and Cotton were unbelievable pairing. You know, unbelievable pairing. You know, to play against them, you know, they made me look a complete prick on more than one occasion, you know. Yeah. So, you know, it's unbelievable. There was a lot, but I still think there's a lot of good players. You know, you look at the teams in the senior now, you know, Old Newton have got a lot of lads who have come down. There's a lot of good lads there. There's obviously loads of good lads at Cranes. And also, you know, while you're on the Cranes, what a great way Rads goes about his business at Cranes. I've got a lot of time for Rads and his management team. You know, they're always gracious. They're always humble, you know, and they do things, in my opinion, in the right way. They've won things for years now, but they still do things in the right way with no arrogance. And I have a massive respect for Rads and his management team over at Cranes.
Adam, I know you just about to ask a question on that.
Yeah, I got a question in anonymously that says, does Stanton's reputation as being hard to beat sometimes go against you as both a club and as a team?
Yeah, possibly. I think because obviously as well, we used to finish in the bottom 3 or 4 of the whole SIL every year for disciplinary. So that didn't really ever do us any favours. I think sometimes, you know, I get on great. I didn't have a great relationship with referees back then, but, you know, over the years you mellow to it all. And I do think that maybe have gone against us a few times, for our reputation, for sure.
Did you ever
can I just follow that up? Can I just
Dave?
follow that up by saying, sometimes when that is your image as a club, that is also what attracts people to you. And when you try and dramatically change it and go the complete opposite way, you kind of lose a part of what you were as a club and as a team and as an identity. And sometimes that can go the complete opposite, and you just become another club.
I could not agree more, you know, and I was the start of trying to make that change. We tried to, because football's changed, you know, it isn't like what I'm talking about now. Football is nothing like that, you know. No. And this was another thing that used to get frustrating for me, because I wanted it to be the same as what I used to have, and the people ain't the same. You know, you're trying to do the team talks that if I'd have done in a Bardwell changing room, the boys would have gone out there and they'd have just done it. You know, them lads were brilliant. If I'd done it in the stat, they looked at me as if some of them looked at me as if I was fucking off my head, you know. So, you know, and it is different. I mean, once we lost 5-1 at BT Trimley, and I went back in the change room, and one of the lads, I got in a bit of trouble over this, but one of the lads just turned around to me and said, does anyone know if there's late night shopping in Ipswich? You know, and we'd just been thumped 5-1. I end up pulling all the shower down, and the club got a big bill for it all. But I was fuming. I mean, what a stupid thing to say. You've just been spanked 5-1 by a team that was about 4 or 5 places below us in the league. He wanted to know if there's freaking late night shopping. You know, just so things like that do. You know, things changed, didn't they? You wouldn't have had that when I was 19, 20. Because probably someone had smacked you in the chops.
Did you ever get taught a lesson? Like, did that ever actually happen to you? Did you ever get on the pitch yourself? Did you ever try and get in someone's head, but it backfired a bit and taught a bit of a lesson from other people? And did it ever go wrong?
Obviously, you had the players who'd give it back. You know, there's obviously there's tough lads in every team, isn't there? But I think football, though, it can turn even the most. That's what I love about the game. You know, it can turn even the mildest mannered. I'll give you an example. Miles Turner, lad who used to play for us, one of the most mild mannered, very quiet lads I've ever met. You know, I played football with him right through my youth. Again, fantastic footballer. But you put him on a football pitch and he wouldn't gob off, but he was as hard as nails. You know, there's a lad called Powell who used to play for Hawley. He used to stand 6'4", 6'3", 6'4". Miles about 5'10". He gobbled off to Miles in the penalty area. Miles dropped him. You know, and that's, you know, but he's not like that. You could take him out with 20 pints and he wouldn't want to fight a soul. You know, and I think that's what makes that football so magic, doesn't it? It just gives you. I said to you earlier, me and Macca, if we stood by the touchline next to each other, we'd row and row and row. And we would. You know, we've had altercations at half-time when he's playing for us. You know, but away from football, we can talk to football and we'll be fine. But it's just when you're around them areas, isn't it? It's your domain. You want to win. You know, and the drive in you. Yeah. You know, and that life, like I said to you, that life lesson that I learned when I was a very young boy, and never giving up and never letting anything beat you or never letting anyone beat me in here, you know, that is just everything I do. I want to try and be the best. You can't always be, but I will always drive to try and be the best.
So Stuart says on here, the biggest change is player commitment. You can have 15 players on a Wednesday. Come Saturday, you're struggling for 11. Would have never happened 10 years ago. Nick said the standard between the 1995 to 2000 in the SI was absolutely exceptional. We've had quite a few people talking about player commitment is a big one these days. I mean, a lot of people do talk about what it was like, and there does still seem to be this desire and this craving for that type of game in football nowadays, and especially in non-league. And non-league is slowly but surely becoming more of a passing game and a more of a, you know, do you know what I mean? They're looking towards the higher leagues for that standard of football, but there still is this craving for what used to be and what style of football used to be great. Do you think that style of football, that style of management, the way you can run a team, do you think that can still be done in today's day and age, or do you just think that now with the players that are coming through, it's just not, you just can't manage like you did about them?
As a nation, we're so PC, aren't we? You know, if you stuck fucking some of the players like I have done or I've had done to me, probably get called a bully now. You know, we live in a... So, you know, my football is I loved blood and thunder football, you know. Big man, little man up front, two good wingers. My fullbacks were the first line of attack, last line of defence. My fullbacks were the most important players to me on the whole pitch, right?
Yeah.
I wanted us pressing. Yeah. And he, you know, I just don't think you'd ever... I just think things have changed, haven't they? You get all these different... It does my head in all these different formations, and you know, and that was another reason because I couldn't deal with it. Oh, they're playing 4-3-3 this week, or they got 4-2-1-3, or... And I'm like, fucking hell, let's go 4-4-2. Do you know what I mean?
You're a Mike Bass.
You know, and that's what I struggled with massively. That was a big reason, because I'm not a coach. You know, whereas Dean last week said he didn't like the managing side.
He likes the
coaching side. You know, You know, I'm not into all that. You know, my thing is to get the players, get them up for it, and have fun together. Let's win and have fun. You know, that's what life's all about. It's having fun. Live every single minute of your life. You know, and that's why, you know, it's when we were all together, it was just, and I'm sure that there's a lot of the lads who played with me, played for me, and that watching this tonight, you know, and that's what it was. It was such a especially, you know, Stanton was great, but Bardwell was even better because it was the lads who all grew up together.
Yeah.
You know, and we had an exceptionally good bond, an exceptionally good squad. You know, we won 3 Sunday Cups only to be beaten by the gym now, which still gripes on me, to be quite honest. I hate not having that record now. So, but look, I might run another Sunday team, so I'll take that back. I'll keep thinking about running. I do keep thinking about starting up a Stanton Sunday side because I want that back off of Morton. You know, that's my record. It pissed me right off when he beat me. But,
love it.
I'm afraid to tell you how much that winds me up. So I'm not saying I'm running the Sunday game yet.
I love it. I absolutely love that.
Go on, James. I'll do yours first.
No, I was just going to read out a couple of comments that we've had come on here. So Dean has said the days of playing for the love of the game have gone. It's now all about money and where their mates are playing. It's so easy to move around. And I mean, he highlighted that point, didn't he? When he came into Achilles, he was right. If I bring you, who have you got that can also come along with you?
He's in a catchment area, which is far harder for him than it is for us.
Right.
Because we're in Ipswich, you know, everyone knows that, you know, it's not a massive town, is it? And they're all following. You always find each team in Ipswich has a period of good spells, you know, even like IVR had a really good side. Now look where they are, you know. You know, all those. For Dean, it was also, like he said, going into where they've always, a bit like us, we've always bred our own managers.
Yeah.
They've always come from within the club. You know, Dean had that as well. And I'm sure for an outsider to come into Stanton and deal with our committee with the way that we've always been would probably be quite hard, similar to what Dean had. You know, I really understood what he was talking about there.
Yeah, definitely. Ben said on it, there's far too many prima donnas in the game now. I like my teams to press and play the game in the opposition's half, put it long, get in their face, but not too many teams like to do that nowadays. Shem's put... Sorry?
I said, unfortunately not, Ben. No, you don't.
No, it's every club needs Matt's passion, says Shem on here. Luke has put, looking from the outside in, I've always had a lot of envy at the togetherness of all the Stanton sides. It must make the wins even better.
I tell you now, when Stanton's winning, there's no better place in the SIL to be. I'll tell you that now. No doubt in my mind.
So one of the questions that I wanted to ask was that really around friendships and stuff like that, with you all being quite close. There's always going to be times when players are finding it harder, be it performance-wise or something else that's going on. But that was obviously quite a mentally tough change room where everyone's probably seen as being a very big character, and it was probably just completely full of life all the time by the sounds of it. How did you sort of...
I had a changing room. You know, people might say, oh, I'm a big character, but I had a changing room full of characters. I had a changing room full of winners. You know, I only had to look at Trev and say, come on, and Trev would G them all up, or Gary Ross, or Alan Ross, or Paul Muzz, or Matty Muzz, or my brother, you know, or whoever, Shavey, Michael Roberts, Smithy, whoever. They all wanted it. It was ingrained in them.
So if ever there was a problem with anyone, there was always someone there that would...
There's always someone who G the other one up. I mean, me and Dean have been best mates for years and years and years, right? And we wanted it that bad. We were losing one time. He didn't pass me the ball in the box. And me and him nearly end up having a punch up on the pitch. Next thing he does it and I score, you know. But we nearly went it for each other on the pitch because, you know, that's what it meant to us. You know, we go goals down most games, you know, but I never fret. We always were going to win. I never needed to worry, you know, but I had leaders all over the pitch, especially in that Bardwell team. It's a lot harder. It was a lot harder managing Stanton than it was Bardwell. Bardwell, for one, I could pick the players I wanted because we were the best. And two, your coaching is done on the Saturdays. Them boys had played football together for years. They knew what they were doing, and all I had to do was get the lads up for it. So I never, you know, and I was probably better suited to that. You know, I was probably better suited to that than what is involved in running Stanton. You know, it is a massive, and like Dean said, it's 7 days a week, man. It is. You know, I used to see what Lee put into it. I used to see what Gary Newman put into it. I've seen what other managers are putting in it, what I've done in the past. You know, it really starts to take over your life, and you have to make sure you're getting the enjoyment level out to warrant taking that. And that's where the balance starts getting a bit iffy when players are texting you saying it's my dog's birthday. You know,
Pardon? Like, with these all being your mates and, you know, stuff like that happening, did the frustrations ever boil over to a point where off the pitch things became strained, or was it always they're your mates, they're your boys?
The only time we ever had a row was if we'd lost, and we'd have a row with each other because we'd been shit.
Yeah,
you know, and rightly so. You know, one time we lost 5-1 at home to Howard's, and I kept them out on the pitch for 10 minutes. You know, it was freaking embarrassing. And I blew my top another time when we needed to win the last game of the season to go through the season with 100%. And I can't remember if we drew or lost, and I was fuming. You know, we'd won the league. We'd won, in fact, the last 2 years we played, we won 10 trophies. We won all 10. You know, and but I was still pissed off that we hadn't perfected the result that year. And in fact, I think I ended up going through the door to their change room because they were celebrating like they'd won the league just because they'd beaten us, you know. You know, and that was the drive of that place. It was a special place, that change room. Shithole change rooms, but a special place. Again, no, I wish I'd have done Bardwell a bit longer, so I should have done it a bit longer and brought Clarkie's age group through. Instead of Clarkie played at the end for me. In fact, the last Sunday Cup we won had been an altercation on the sideline, and I'd got sent off to the changing rooms, and I heard the cheer, and it was they'd scored. It was Ipswich Premier Thistle or something like that, and they had Dean Godfrey up front who tore us a new backside. You know, when Dean was on it, he was unplayable. You know, and it was one of his days when he was on it. And so Trev had come off injured, Trev Newman, and I got a message out to Trev, push Clarkie forward. Within 2 minutes, he banged one straight in the top corner, and then we went on to win. And as soon as we went through extra time, 3-3, and as soon as it went to penalties, I knew we'd win because we had a guy, Andy Mustoe, in goal, right? And every penalty shootout I'd ever played with him, which is quite a few, he always saved 2 or 3 penalties in the penalty shootout. He was phenomenal at them, and we won the cup on penalties. So it's mad.
Wow, love that.
Special moments.
Love that.
Moments. You know, you've got to if you're getting into something like this, you've got to enjoy it because it's over too soon.
Yeah,
now,
definitely.
I'd do anything to go back to that. Do you know what I mean? I absolutely loved everything about it.
So, what's your involvement with the club?
I'm just trying to help Muzzy and Ferg and Adi and Darren Bailey, the reserve managers, all the managers. Right. I'm not chairman. I'm just on the committee. Darren Street's a chairman. We've actually now got a strong committee. It took a lot of years to build up, but we've actually got a strong committee. And I'm just trying to help push forward the 4G, which I'm now working on with the parish council. Gary Newman's come back on board to help me with that as well, which I'm absolutely delighted about. And we're just trying to push the club in the right direction. You know, I tell you now, I'm not an emotional man, but if we were to ever to win anything, I would probably well up. There's no two ways about it. It'd mean that much, you know. I'd absolutely love it. You know, we've been I don't know, stagnant for too long. We ain't done nothing for too long, and we need to do something, you know. And actually, I do feel we're getting close with this group of lads because I also feel like we're starting to get Muzzy starting and Fergus starting to get what I've been talking about back in that change. I'm seeing it on the groups. I'm starting to feel it. You know, maybe a few more numbers in the training and that they're doing online, but generally I'm really starting to get the feel. And, you know, my son obviously plays there now, which is great. You know, another generation playing, and I'm very proud of that my son's playing there.
What's that like watching him? Is it hard?
It is hard. You know, it's hard. You know, he got in a little bit of a swinging match a few months ago, and it's hard not to jump on there and crack them. You know, you have to really pull yourself back and remember that he's got to look after himself. You know, the old heckle stand up, you feel like giving him a little jab. You know, but it's hard. But it's great. I'm very proud of him for doing it. You know, my daughter plays as well, but obviously she can't play with Stanton yet. But.
Yeah, I mean, you've obviously mentioned about stuff that's going on, kind of off the pitch, and you know, getting the club kind of moving forward now. The past 2 seasons and what everything has been going on, do you think that's been a benefit in terms of getting things off the pitch in the right way? Because a lot of clubs have sat still and have not really done an awful lot and have just kind of plodded along, and you don't really hear kind of too much about them. Whereas a lot of teams have actually kind of used this situation to their advantage and really put the steps in place to really kind of push on. I mean, how has the club kind of been over the past 2 seasons?
We've been in a position where we've all had a bit more time, haven't we? You know, Darren's a very busy man and he's had a little bit more time. Daryl, who's always been a great chairman, for the previous chairman for the club, Daryl Goodrum, Neil's brother, you know, he's had a little bit more time. So, you know, and all the other committee members, Claire Ellis, and, you know, all of them, they've all had Curtis is right. But you know, we've all had a little bit more time, you know, and we're very lucky. Like I say, we've got a very strong committee now, and we're all moving. I feel like we're moving forwards. You know, where we've been treading water. And the good thing is, I've been on the committee now at Stanton since I was about 17, 18, so about 26 years, 24 years. We've got a parish council that are really wanting to push us and really want to push through all this stuff. They're being the driver at the minute. And we went to them with an idea, or me and Lee Sturgeon did when he was there, and they've now really starting to push it. And it's very, it's great. It's you know, really, really excited.
So that 4G side of things, because I've only ever been to Stanton once. It was a couple of years back for your game against Falcons.
Yeah.
Is that going to be where you guys are now in terms of the club and the actual changing rooms, the field?
The plan is, you know, where the garage is, where the main road comes across there.
Yeah.
Is to have a new entrance either there, or there's a building estate going down the side of our pitch. A new house. Okay. So either have an entrance there or off the top, new clubhouse, changing rooms, bar facility, and then 4G. Not totally decide, but we're probably going to keep the grass pitch as well as a full-size 4G.
Right.
Funding subject to funding, obviously.
So kind of going down a similar route of what Needham Market have got. So you've got both kind of pitches available.
Yeah.
So that you could potentially kind of split the club into maybe one of you on one pitch, maybe one of you on the other.
For me, I wouldn't really like to see the first team playing on a synthetic surface.
Right.
Not at this time. I think that would be more for the youth section, the girls' football, the women's football. You know, we're looking at disabled stuff as well, but doing stuff with them. That'll be more for them, you know, and we'll want to keep the grass for going forwards. You know, I don't really see the first team playing on that. No.
Right. Okay. No, that's fair enough on there. Gary, we need people on like this to stay. We need people on game like this to stay in touch with football. Absolutely agree on that. We've got quite a few. We've had some really good comments on here tonight. I've had another question coming in actually on Twitter whilst we've been chatting. I've had something posted to me a couple of minutes ago. This is from Kevin Clark.
Yeah, a good friend of mine.
So he just said, I'm good friends with Matty. I asked him about the time he was playing in the reserves for me when he was in goal, and when he kicked the centre forward up the arse when he scored a goal past him and got sent off with a straight red card. What? So what happened? Why did it happen? And what was going through your head?
I don't know. I was helping Kev out playing in goal, and the lad scored and laughed as he put it past me. So I just snapped and ran and toe punted him up the backside. And then the centre half come for it. It's all a true story. The lads all back it up. I'm not bullshitting. The centre half come up and was gobbing off a bit, and I just got him by the ears and picked him up. Ref was blowing his whistle, and I just went, all right. And my mate Shavy was on the sideline, and we shot off to town and went out. But yeah, the night game. And the worst thing was that this guy from Stow Upland went into work the next day and said, you know, we were playing Stanton last night, and there's a fucking loon playing in goal for him. And this was to my cousin. She said he didn't have blonde hair, I had a ponytail. Well, one dreadlock probably, but I had a ponytail. So he didn't have a ponytail. And this bloke said, yeah. She said, that's my cousin. Yeah. So, yeah. Like I said, I had a short fuse. To say what was going through my head, nothing. I didn't even realise anything about it until I'd sort of calmed down 5 minutes later. But I had a bit of a temper problem, really.
Probably glad that the fines aren't at the levels they are today.
What's that? Sorry?
Probably glad the fines weren't at the levels they are today when you were playing.
Mate, I tell you what, I had some good bands. I tell you that now. I've been in front of that Suffolk FA on more than one occasion, and poor Darryl, the chairman's been in front of it probably more times than me because of my behaviour. So, yeah, I'm not proud of it. It's not, but it is what it is. And But then we have poacher term gamekeepers. You know, I was at the Ipswich Norwich game a few years ago, and I was coming down the hill, and I saw someone I thought I recognised having a massive altercation with the police. And as I got closer, I realised that was Mr. Irving Flaherty, and he got led away by the police at the Ipswich Norwich game. I said, "All right, Irving." He went, "Yeah, fine," and carried on remonstrating with the policeman as he got pulled away.
Do you know, that wasn't the incident he was talking to us about, was it, Adam?
He told us a similar story, but I think it was a police officer that knew his name.
Yeah.
He was on the other day.
He didn't get tucked off by the police as I came down, and as you come down from the railway station, you get to the crossroads, and it was just there was. I thought, that's Irv. I said, "You're right, mate." He said, "Yeah," and then he carried on remonstrating with the policeman and was took away.
I bet you that was the same. That was all to do with the same story, I reckon.
Yeah, probably is. Yeah, probably is.
Yeah,
but yeah,
definitely.
coach and gamekeepers, Irv is.
Ben says, what year was that? Because it has been quite some time
I
now.
don't remember what day of the week it is, pal. Do you know what I mean? I grew up in the 90s. My memory's not the best now, mate. I don't know.
I've had there's another one in the comments here. I want to just quickly ask this because Matthew's posted this in. Where does Stanton want to be in the next 5 years? What's
Senior League champions and to get the Senior Cup final. I want to go back to Portman Road. That's what I want to do. I want to see Stanton back at Portman Road within the next 5 years. That's a certainty, you know.
Right.
Because that don't happen very often, and that's where I want to be.
Love that.
Sorry, Irv, I wanted to listen.
you didn't look very innocent, Irv, I tell you.
I knew he was in it.
Well, I tell you what, I love him just because he sent about 5 of Walsham's players off. But whenever he came to stand, and even if he'd give a shocking decision, he'd just laugh, he'd carry on, and then he'd be in that bar and he'd come and have a drink, you know. And that's another thing. We're missing characters, you know. I was on about Terry Pearce earlier, you know, big character. Trevor Wardlaw was another massive character. You know, him and his missus would be in the bar, drinking with you, you know, they didn't, you know, not a care in the world. They were always about, you know, and they'd still, you know, I got sent off at Old Newton one time. It was pre-season friendly, believe it or not. And, you know, and that Wardlaw, he said, "Mate, just calm down with his hip flask," you know. Again, someone done that now, they'd flip out, wouldn't they? But it was, you know, they were proper characters. It's like, I don't know if you guys know the Cook brothers from Wickham Market.
I think so. Yeah,
you do. They came over to play at Stanton. It was a game it was an England game when we played Scotland in a playoff for World Cup or Euros or something. I believe Scholes scored, and the landlord in the pub was doing these 2-pint pitchers of Heineken Export. So them boys started drinking with us, you know, and all the rest of the Wickham lads went home, left the 2 Cook brothers there on the piss with us all night, and their missus had to come pick them up about midnight all the way from Wickham Market. They don't do that anymore. That's what I'm saying. It was great. You know, it was great. You know, and also I talk about the rivalries. I talk about the Achilles, the old Newtons, the Hawleys, the Walshams, and that. When things didn't go great for like me and my family and all that, them clubs, all the SIL, and this is what makes non-league so special. You know, when things don't go quite so well, all them people, I've got a book upstairs in my house of all letters of condolences and stuff from every single club, you know, and that's a special thing. That is a special thing. So you can have all the rivalries, but when things ain't quite right, you know, there's still a lot of togetherness within that. And that's what makes local football so special.
Yeah, we mentioned that last show, didn't we, when we were talking about the 2 charities that we were promoting last week?
Yeah.
They both came on and said, you know, everyone from every aspect of non-league football, whether or not we've kicked 7 lumps out of each other from one week to the next, has all come together to help raise a bit of money for those charities. And I just think, like you said, it happens on a regular basis. You can be scrapping with people, but at the end, you know, push comes to shove, everyone's together at this level, aren't they?
They are, you know, and another, actually, I wanted to say, I've been following what Macca's doing. I think he's run to Land's End to John O'Groats, the amount of miles he's done. But massive respect. I do well to run to the toilet now. So big respect.
Absolutely brilliant. I just want to follow up very quickly. Matthew asked a follow-up question to his one earlier. He said about leagues and potentially going up. I mean, moving from the SIL, this is a conversation we're going to be having maybe next week or maybe a couple of weeks after that about the SIL and why teams don't go up as regularly as you often see in like the angling sort of leagues, etc. Is that potentially something the club would like to explore, or is that
the thing with 4G is it's a business? It can be a very good revenue maker, and to go up leagues, you have to have revenue. So you have to have good sponsors. You have to, have that revenue stream. Own clubhouse. Who knows? But it's we're like this. We're not going like that the first thing would be to get in the top 3 of the senior league and to get the Portman Road.
Yeah, love that. Absolutely love that. Ben asked about any scraps you've had, but you can say live on it. I think you've probably described about 10 this evening. So I think we're kind of done on that one. Adam, any questions you want to just finish up on, because we are 1 hour and 51 minutes into this show. It's been brilliant, absolutely superb.
I had a few, but they kind of sort of started to get answered in other elements as what we talked about. I think it's something that would be good to finish on would be just to talk about sort of one of the just sort of going up to fairly recently. We were lucky enough to have Ferg come and spend a short amount of time with us several weeks ago, just after he'd sort of come in. How much of a difference, and sort of how big is that for you getting him come in? He's obviously got a bit of experience at fellow none level as well. Like, he sounded so positive, and the results really started to turn as well.
No, man. It's a matter. I mean, I know Ferg really well anyway. We do quite a bit of work together, and he's a top fella, and he knows he used to coach my daughter when she was like 5, 6. My daughter thinks he's fantastic. He's an amazing coach, and he really is an amazing coach. He's got his own style. He'll play to that style, and he just gets it. So, and with Muzzy, you got both sides of the thingy, because Muzzy will put the arm round, but he'll stick the fuck into him, and Ferg will do both as well. But Ferg will then. Muzzy's a bit more of what I would class as the blood and thunder football. Muzzy loved a cheeky elbow.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things I've seen, actually, we were playing at Achilles one time, and there was a bit of a fraud going on as we were going back into the change room, and I'd done my knee and I couldn't walk very quick. When I just got to the door, all of a sudden I see this fist come out of our change room door and land right on Phil Della's chin, put him on his backside, and that was Muzzy. And then he got the pub card in the bar after, which wasn't a very popular thing. But the blood and thunder football there. You got the one he'll put an arm around. He's a very good man manager, and so's Ferg. And let's not forget what Gary Newman done at the club, and Lee Sturgeon. They've all worked their socks off. So when we get to where we want to be, it will be through the hard work of several people, rather than just
someone who's come in and
Ferg is a massive bonus to the club. There's no two ways. It's just getting hold of him, isn't it? I'm sure offers. That's why you have to make the environment the best, my man. And with Ferg, you keep him top up with cider, you've got half a chance, mate. I'll tell you that.
I hate to end this show and this discussion on a bit of a downer, but I do want to do a little bit of self promotion for tomorrow night, and I want to get your thoughts on what's going on. We are doing the live watch along tomorrow night. For those of you who don't know, the Hull versus Ipswich game tomorrow evening. Myself and Adam will be doing a watch along, reacting to the game as it goes on. I just want to get your thoughts, Matt, on what's going on at Ipswich at the moment, if you can try and sum it up in a few minutes, because it's a mess. Quite frankly,
this isn't something that's happened like over the last 6 months. We've been in decline for donkey's years. You know, all we can hope for as a fan at this present time is that the rumours of a takeover actually bear some fruit, and we get someone in with ambition, money, who will get a decent manager and maybe do a Sheffield United with us. That's all you can hope for. Otherwise, there's no way it can stay the same. Something's going to snap. It'll probably end up being someone's head the way the fans are getting with them at the minute. You know, I've never known sport Ipswich all my life. I've never known fans to be in this sort of way with the club, to be honest. It's pure hatred.
Really? I think because obviously, you know, everyone knows my allegiances and where I lie. I think even when there's been times where things have not been going right under Evans, you've always had that kind of split where the fans have gone, well, do you know what? I like Marcus Evans, what he's done. He's put in a lot of money to the club. It's just not been handled right. I don't like him. He's this, he's that. I blame the manager. No, I like the manager. There's always been a bit of a split with Ipswich fans. Whereas at the moment, I think in the current lockdown situation, I think people's anger has just been building and building and building and building. And it's just got to the point now where a lot of Ipswich fans have just gone, do you know what? I've had enough. Enough is enough. You can't continue like that. And I think it's just boiled over.
Yeah, no. And I mean, as a fan, I mean, I missed, I don't know, 3 or 4 games home and away last year. You know, I went home and away. You know, you've got to question, you know, the thing is with Marcus Evans is that he's a businessman, right? He's a very, very successful businessman. Why is he losing so much money on Ipswich Town? You know, you've got to ask a question, haven't you? He's not a stupid man, is he? You know, fuck off, Addy. You know, you've got questions his motives for why he owns Ipswich in the first place. Look, like I said, we have just got hope that the takeover isn't just paper talk, that there is something going to come from it, and that we get a manager in and we get some ambition back in the club, because if it stays like it is, we're going League Two. Fact.
Yeah. I can neither confirm nor deny what I've been informed, but we shall see over the next coming weeks what goes on. But it's there's the rumours are.
If you again, I'll go back to Evans as a businessman. You know, he's no fool. If there weren't something going on, Lambert would have been sacked. Fact.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So, you know, it don't take a rocket scientist to know something's going on behind the scenes, does it?
Yeah. There you go. That's an away day for you. Cambridge away on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, that'd do me. Cambridge away on a Tuesday night would be a good crack.
Cambridge away is a brilliant day. It's absolutely superb. I've done a couple of neutral games there. Just being in the away end, it's absolutely brilliant. I love it.
Hour on the train, loads of pubs. What more can you want?
Exactly. Yeah, Matt, it's been absolutely brilliant having you on tonight's show. I've really, really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for coming on, talking through your story and your time and just everything connected with Stanton. We really appreciate you coming on, and just, you know, for what you've done. I like, you know, the love you've had in the comments tonight has been absolutely incredible. So thank you so much for your time. I said 2 hours have just absolutely flown by. So really appreciate you coming on, mate.
Thank you so much, guys.
All those stories as well. It's been brilliant. Really
sorry, Matt. Say that again.
I said thank you for keep doing what you're doing, guys. It's refreshing. It gives you something to look forward to on a Monday night.
No worries. No worries. We've got plenty of guests lined up over the next few weeks, so we'll still be here. But really appreciate you coming on, mate.
Take care.
All right, you take care. Cheers for that. Superb. Absolutely love that, Adam. Let's get the Super Six done. Let's tie things up for this evening. Again, just a friendly reminder before we do that. Again, tomorrow night, 6:45, we will be here doing the Ipswich versus Hull watch along.
I can't wait for it. It should be absolutely brilliant. If you guys want to get involved in tomorrow night's conversation, we will be opening up the floor to you. There will be a link that you can go onto to click onto if you want to come on the show, give your thoughts and opinions, or if not, you can just get involved in the comment section. I can't wait for it. It should be absolutely brilliant. And the fact that our audience, I know a lot of you are Ipswich fans and you're really looking forward to this. You've been mentioning it for weeks now. So I can't wait for it. It should be absolutely brilliant on that part. This week's Super Six, Adam, kind of talk to us about who's done well this week, who or what, how did it go? Main thing, did I enter?
You did. You're the first person to enter. You're either the first person to enter or you don't bother entering at all. So competition carries on heating up and Irv remains top of the monthly competition that we're running.
Let's bring the graphic up. Here we go.
Yeah, non-league football shop are providing the prize for February, which we are massively grateful for. Like these competitions, like we can't do monthly prizes without the people coming on board, and they're really helping out. Irv has managed to score another 4 points, keeps himself top. But look how narrow this table is; it's ridiculous.
It's heating up for the final week. I love it.
Yeah, but it's so good to have a load of people on this chart that haven't won before. I know everyone's going to say Spreads is up there and close, but his points have consistently been lower than his usual average for the last couple of weeks. So I think someone else is going to have this off him. That's my prediction. There's a whole host of people on 10 points as well. So, but this is all I could fit on the graphic. But it's looking tight. What I will say is that if it comes down to two people with the same points, we'll have to stick it on a random name caller.
Yeah, I think that's probably the
because it's looking a little bit too tight going into this last week.
I know, Dean. I'm just as shocked as you are, mate. I'm just as shocked. I think my dad will probably be in bed at the moment, so he probably won't be able to see this graph. But he'll be so happy he's still up there for this month anyway.
Irv's done tremendously well, like the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, there we go. So overall, this is the current league table then at the moment. So we've still got Spreads leading the way with 110 points, followed by a lot of people in the 80s now, which is really good to see. Adam, you're up to 9th. Well done, mate. Some of our regulars, let's have a look. So Dan Barnard, we got in 11th. Tony's in 14th. We've got Ben in 16th. Dean, 19th place. Well done, mate. Alex is on 21. I'm dropping like an absolute stone down to 38th position. I think it's probably because about 5 weeks I haven't actually entered, which, considering I have the show and it's what I do, this is quite shocking for me. But Drew's in there on 50 in 53rd place. Dad's up to 46. Well done, Dad. Get in. Yeah, I like it. It looks like quite a few names have moved around this week.
Yeah, you're now starting to see. So we're getting about 55 to 60 people enter every week now, fairly consistently. This was the first week I've actually done where we didn't have any new entrants.
Wow. Where's Ben on this?
Quite good. Ben Moore.
Yeah.
28th. There he is. I've said him 28th place.
I've seen him. There he is.
So also no one got 0 points this week.
Brilliant.
So we all did really, really well, to be honest.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Good.
So here is this week's Super Six. I'm just getting the link up as I speak. So we've got Wickham versus Norwich City. We've got Ipswich versus Doncaster, Peterborough versus Wigan, Port Vale versus Cambridge, Forest Green versus Colchester, and we've got Southend versus Salford. Obviously, I didn't pick the Kings Lynn game because there's still the are they playing? Are they not playing? The fixtures still say they're playing, but obviously they've came out and said something completely different on there. Ben, no, I didn't do it on purpose, mate. Did not do it on purpose. Dan Barnard, wow, 58 on top of the table for February. Jesus, imagine if he did it all season.
I know.
Dean's put, I'm coming for you, Dan. I love this.
Matthew, we'll try and get where you are, and I'll post it to you on Twitter, mate. Don't worry about that. But yes, so the Super Six, as I said, if you want to get involved, it's been posted to Facebook, Twitter, and to YouTube. If you want to get involved, final week to win the February competition, but more for that, it's pride of Suffolk for the overall league table towards the end of the season. Just a few final updates from myself just before we finish up tonight. Just to say, this is the last time for anybody who's watching on Twitter that the live stream will be available for you to view on Twitter. So if you are one of those people that watch us regularly on Twitter, you need to go over to YouTube or to Facebook in order to watch us now. Twitter are actually removing the live stream capabilities now for March onwards. So if you want to watch us and you are on Twitter, as I say, go over to YouTube and subscribe to that. I just thought I'd get that in before the show finishes up tonight.
If you need any help with it?
Yeah. It's very simple. As long as you've got a Gmail account, you can sign into YouTube and subscribe to the channel. Or if you just click the link that we're going to be posting on Twitter, you can just simply watch it by clicking that. But if you subscribe, you're told about when we go live. So you don't ever forget it. You don't have to wait for me to post a link. As I said, you literally hit subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and when we do go live, you get an email letting you know about it. It's just a lot easier that way. But as I said, it's just important that we let you know. I said Twitter from next week is no more. It will be YouTube and Facebook only. We are getting the Twitch sorted out. We just need to sort stuff out between myself and Adam. But yeah, brilliant show. Brilliant show. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And thank you so much, everyone who has been involved in the comment section tonight. The views have been absolutely spectacular for a Monday night. It's been really good to get to these kind of numbers again. And now that we've got some news, which is absolutely amazing, hopefully the good times are back up and rolling again. But it's been a really, really good show. I've absolutely enjoyed it. And I hope to see as many of you as possible for tomorrow night. As I said, Ipswich versus Hull live watch along. Adam, any thoughts before we round up today's show?
Huge thanks to everyone for tuning in, and a continued thanks to our sponsors. Yes. We're at the 6-month stage now, and we kind of appreciate that without them, we wouldn't have been able to do anything. So we've made the decision just to extend their displays on all of our media on an ongoing, for now, for at least the next 3 months, just as a thank you back to them. But honestly, for everyone that supports us, we can't say thank you enough. Like, it means so much to us.
Yeah, I am just going to post before I go on there the Patreon link as well. If you want to take the support one step further, like you guys have done, as I said, from as little as £1 a month you can put towards the channel. It would really, really mean the world if you did that, just to help support and show what, show that from us. As I said, if you can, great. If not, not a problem. It's absolutely no problem at all. Ben's done his Super Six. He's absolutely buzzing. Absolutely great night. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend, everyone. See you next week. Irv, I hope you're available for tomorrow night, mate. I'd love to see you in the chat if you are. Dean Cooper, great show. Remember, you were the only place to be on the Monday, so see you same time next week. Next week says, I've done the Super Six. Looking forward to it. Great one. Keep it going, says Gary on there. Any news on the merch, says Dan. Yes. Very quick one. Basically, the site is up and running. We've just had to change a few things with some of the clothing line that has come out. It's all to do with the amount of shipping that we can get in for the orders that we've done. Myself and Adam are going to be sitting down and talking about that after today's show. So if you want a bit of an update on it, make sure you watch the vlog entries on a Thursday night, because they are the best place to get all of the updates from us. We post all of our updates on the vlogs about everything that's going on behind the scenes. So if you want that kind of stuff, we will be bringing it out soon. I just don't know when. We just don't know when. We are literally waiting for the green light, and I think it will be coming at some point this week. So yeah. Ben, great show, lads. Absolutely love this. Maybe one day I'll be a guest. This keeps me going through. Ben, we want you on tomorrow night, mate. Come on tomorrow night for the Ipswich talk. I'd love to get you involved. Get involved. I'll post a link. Come on tomorrow night's show, mate. Would absolutely love that. No worries at all. Mini protests outside James's house, flares, etc., to get Irv back on.
We've already spoken about this, so yeah, keep your eyes peeled. That'll be special.
Yeah. What's your predictions for tomorrow night, James and Adam? I think Norwich will win and Ipswich will lose. There you go. There's my prediction.
3-0 Hull.
Yeah, it could be. Time to nick the quilt off a top bunk. The wife won't be happy. Great show, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you've been watching from a YouTube perspective, hit the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Facebook users, share the video onto your timelines. Twitter, for the final time, give this video a retweet. And thank you so much for checking in for tonight, guys. It's been an absolutely amazing show. I love you so much. Thank you so much for the support you've shown over the past 6 months. It's been absolutely amazing. We will be back next week. But until next time, as always, guys, hopefully see you tomorrow. Adios.